Hi guys, I think I'm live. It froze for a second there, so I don't know. Hopefully someone will drop a comment in there and let me know that you can see me. That would be fantastic if you would do that. So please do that. It's 3 o'clock, and according to our schedule, now is the time to talk about pirate research fun. So I have a whole stack of books here that I am going to talk about that I have used in writing the Eyes of Bavaria series, and specifically the ones used for scenes involving Cazien de Pollis. I fluffed up my hair a little bit and put some lipstick on since the last little video I posted. As it appeared, I had no lips in the last video. So anyway, new lipstick, Face of Dignity makeup from Against Human Trafficking. So raise money, be pretty, it's all good. So we want to raise awareness against human trafficking. I worked with that organization with the release of The Sunken Realm, and I'm wearing their lipstick. All right, so the first book I want to show you, I've got kind of a funny story to go along with it. This book is called The Pirate Primer, and I know it's going to show up backwards on your screen because of technology. Come on, guys, get it together. Get the letters to go right. This is 2016. Anyway, The Pirate Primer, Mastering the Language of Swashbucklers and Rogues by George, no idea how to say his last name. We're going to say Choundas. It's Choundas. The Pirate Primer, Mastering the Language of Swashbucklers and Rogues. So this, of course, has a lovely map-looking thing in there when you open it up. But this is a super fun book just to read and giggle over. And it's really intense as far as the amount of research that must have gone into the creation of this book. George, you're fantastic, and I love you forever, because this book has brought me so much joy just to read. And I've used a number of things in this book which to help me come up with creative new insults and epithets and all kinds of things my Seahorse Pirates say that have been inspired from their world and from some of the things in this book. This book is divided into sections such as what to say. So there's greetings and partings, calls, flourishes, commands, threats, retorts to threats, catalog of threats, oaths, curses, insults, epithets, modifiers, nouns, respectful address, retorts, questions and replies, toasts and declamations, contractions. A whole chapter, chapter 15 is called ARG. Right here. ARG. Gotta love that. There are cultural terms for piracy, company and crew, arms, torture and punishment, food, drink, currency, time, distance, other units of measure, women. Part 2, that's just part 1. Can you believe that? Part 2, how to say it. So he's got this whole section on pronunciation, the syllables, the consonants, the vowels. Chapter 18, wrong talk. Gotta love that title. Basic wrong talk, redundancy, double negative, malapropism. I don't even know if I said that word right, but since we're talking about wrong talk, does it really matter? Inconsistency. All right. Chapter 19, conversions, the start, the echo, the stern first. Chapter 20, structural forms. Chapter 21, functional forms, assertion, negation, inquiry, reference, characterization, narration. And chapter 22, parts of speech for pirates. The Pirate Primer. I love this book so much. And if you're a fan of all things pirate, as I am, you should really get a hold of this one. It's not super cheap. It's a hardback. It's fun to have on your shelf. And here's the funny story that goes along with this book. My husband, a few years ago, dressed up like a pirate for a reading evening thing that they did. He is an elementary school principal at our local elementary school. And they had some kind of pirate theme going. I don't quite remember it. It was several years ago. It was before the Seahorse Legacy even published. So I hope I'm still on here. My connection is weak. I have a message up there, so if things are going in and out, my apologies. But my husband took this book with him. We got him all dressed up with the sash and the pirate shirt, and of course he did the Seinfeld line, but I don't want to be a pirate, even though he did want to be a pirate. So we got him all dressed up, and I sent him with this book so that he could quote things out of it throughout the night. And one of the other teachers happened to see him with the book, and he looked at it, and he just had this very droll response. Why would anyone own a book like that? Be married to an author of pirate books. That's really the only reason. So here it is, the Pirate Primer, one of my favorite books to look things up and see where it came from. I'm not gonna lie, I spent a lot of time in the epithet section because those are just fun, super fun. All kinds of words in here and phrases that tell you how to talk like a pirate. What say you to this? What's that to the matter? What's the odds? I think I might have used that in a post actually yesterday, maybe in one of the promo posts for this. Anyway, the Pirate Primer, that's the first book we're going to talk about. Second book that I would like to bring up is this book that is in such terrible shape. I have packing tape along the side. This book was mine as a child. My childhood initials are written in here, and it is just a treasure for me because my mom used to read this book to me, and two stories in particular stood out from all the stories in here as my favorites. And they were Snow White and Rose Red, and of course, you know, that love for that story came around and turned into what became The Rin and the Remedy eventually. So that love started very young for that story. And the other one is The 12 Dancing Princesses. And I don't know why I loved this story so much when I was a kid, other than there were 12 princesses, and seriously, princesses and 12 of them. Let's do that. So as I went to figure out how to use this other favorite story of mine to write The Sunken Realm, I read it over and over again and several different versions of the story, and I came to the conclusion that every single one of the versions of the 12 Dancing Princesses is a horrible story. It's just a horrible story. There's no good moral to it. It's a horrible story. So I kind of turned it on its end and flipped it around and gender bent it and in some ways and did all kinds of things to hopefully make it not a horrible story. I turned the princesses into warriors and deadly warriors, and I made the underground kingdom, the Sunken Realm, not quite so fun to visit. The soldier who had to learn where the warriors went at night turned out to be a girl, not a guy. So I like to switch things on its end. But this Fairy Tales and Rhymes, the little golden book library, has been with me a very long time. Okay, another book that I've wanted to mention, of course, is The Book of Pirates by Howard Pyle. All right, sometimes I get my names for characters from authors. And how could I resist when this author not only wrote The Book of Pirates, but The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood? Because the Seahorse Pirates are very, very, very much Robin Hood type pirates. So I wanted to combine that to honor Howard Pyle a little bit in how I wrote this book. And so Cazien's father figure, the great big bald man, Pyle, who is his second in command, who we learn later at one point was desperately in love with Cazien's mother, Pollis. I wanted to honor Howard Pyle by putting his name in the book. So he gets to be Cazien's second in command, which I think is fitting. All right. This book, I think just about any blog post that I have talked about naming characters, I have mentioned this book. This has been an invaluable tool to me throughout every book I've written, and especially the fantasy books, because this is a first name reverse dictionary by Yvonne Navarro, and it cost me a pretty penny, but my local public library had it, and I kept checking it out over and over and over and over again as I was, especially while I was writing the Rin and the Remedy. And finally I'm just like, enough, I need to stop doing this. And so I bought it. And I think it set me back about $50 at the time, but it is so worth it. This book, instead of looking up like a baby name book, you look up the meaning of the name, and then it gives you a list of names that mean that. I mean, how cool is that? So I get to look up all these things about the sea and what something might mean. And when I first created Cazien as a character, some of you may know this who follow my blog tours and things like that. Cazien was originally a despicable villain in the first drafts of the Rin and the Remedy. He was the character who later kind of became Tarlo de Vere, for those of you who have read The Remedy. And he just kind of kept coming out on the page a little stronger and a little stronger. And suddenly, as I'm revising, I'm realizing, wow, he's not an all bad guy. He's an outlaw and he's a villain. And how does that, ooh, a pirate. So Cazien kind of became this thing unto himself. And how I came up with his name was back when he was that villain character. He was super vain, and that was the thing. Tarlo still is also in the Remedy, but that was one of the things that really marked him as a character, that he's vain about his very, very good looks. So I looked up the word vain in this book, the first name reverse dictionary, and the name Kaz was in there, and I was like, Kaz, that's kind of awesome. And so I just add a little Cazien because I thought he needed a little something more to his name. So Cazien, his nickname is Kaz. Kaz means vain. Julian calls him vain all the time. I think it's perfect for him, but I have used this in so many other ways. And sometimes I don't take a name out of here verbatim. I will find a name and then kind of adjust the letters or make it suit me a little bit better so that I know where the meaning came from, but it's maybe not verbatim of what the name actually is out of this book. This book is really cool. It tells you not only the name, but where it came from in the world, its origin, and just it's divided into male and female, which is also cool when you're looking up a character. I've gotten so much inspiration for character names from this book. Highly recommended if you are trying to be an author out there, if you are an author out there. First Name Reverse Dictionary by Yvonne Navarro. All right, and this last book, I used a little. I've shared it with a friend and gotten it back. Thank you, Sandra. And this book is The Sea Rover's Practice, Pirate Tactics and Techniques, 1630 to 1730 by Bennerson Little. Okay, this is a little more technical, not as much fun to read as some of these other books, but there are some good illustrations in here with parts of a ship and types of weapons. Just some really nice things that I guess I dog your pages, don't hate me. I do it. It's my book. I can do what I want. And if I ruin it, I'll buy another one and the author will love me. So it's all good, right? There are a bunch of definitions here too for pirate terms. And I have tucked in the front of this book, right, so I wouldn't ever lose it, is another reference I used in writing my pirate book from Rob Ossians, or Ossians, I'm not sure how to say his name. Pirate Cove, Rolls Aboard Ship. Who does what aboard a sailing vessel? I printed this off the internet from Rob. Anyway, the Pirate's Cove is the website, and it just gives a rundown of all these different roles that might be aboard a ship, what they do, why they're called that. It also talks about weaponry and that. Also, I have some printouts from the Mariners Museum, the Age of Exploration vocabulary. There's a lot of research to do, even in doing fantasy, because you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to get it wrong, because someone will absolutely call you on it. something that I did not put in my book because it's a fantasy and I can do what I want. There are no guns or cannons with my pirates. I don't think anybody's missed them. Have you missed them? No. I think it's much more fun to have swords and magic. So that's what I did. Swords and magic. Because you're so much less limited with that kind of technology. So there you have it. There are some of the resources that I used while I was researching things to write about pirates and how things go on the sea and on the ship. What's said, what's not said, what's correct, and how to skew those things to work for me. I hope you have enjoyed this Facebook Live presentation of my pirate research fun. You guys have a really great day. I'm going to hopefully get this to post without any trouble, even though it keeps telling me my internet signal is weak. Let's cross our fingers and may justice and truth be served.